Most cruisers think the biggest mistake you can make on a cruise is overpacking or maybe missing the ship, right? But they're dead wrong. In modern times, more cruisers are coming home to their homes being broken into or waking up on debarkation day with thousands in unexpected charges. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to stop doing immediately to protect yourself, including how to avoid one invisible trap that is triggered the second you leave port. I'm Gary with Optimal Cruising, bringing you fresh cruise advice, money-saving hacks, and secret strategies the cruise lines don't advertise. One of the first things my wife does every time we book a cruise is get on Facebook and find the group that has created itself around this cruise. If you've done this, you know what I'm talking about. Most cruises have a Facebook group where people who are going to be on that specific cruise on those specific dates can talk about the cruise ahead of time, get to know each other if that's what you're trying to do, and it's a pretty common practice these days. But it can be a big risk. If you reveal too much information about your personal life or your personal situation, there are criminals lurking on the internet all over the place. And crime is on the rise against vacationers, cruisers, and vacationers of all sorts. And this problem can just get worse during the duration of your cruise if you're constantly posting pictures of where you are on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean and your information is not completely private. People can figure out who you are, where you live, and you could end up coming home to a burglary or worse. It's not something you want to do. I recommend adopting a strict policy. When I go on a cruise, I don't post anything until I get back home. So when I'm posting, I'm already back home. When I'm uploading videos, they're about trips I've already taken. Just because the internet has made the world a lot more connected, there are a lot of bad actors on there as well, and you need to protect yourself. So unless you're sure that your information cannot lead back to you from your social media posts, just hold off the posts until you get back home. You can still take all the pictures, videos that you want, and when you get back home, have at it. Put them online, but at least then you're back home and you can even post it like that as if this is a trip I went on, so it's obvious that you're not there now. And that leads me to another big mistake that cruisers are making these days. I'm hearing from more cruisers these days that there is a cabin number scam on the rise on cruise ships. And this is once you're already on the cruise ship. Just because it seems like everybody on there is there for vacation, there still are oftentimes some bad actors on board these ships. And you have to be cautious because the same thing that can get you in trouble by posting live shots back home can actually get you in trouble while you're on the ship. If you get your room number out there in public, associated with your name, there are scammers who can actually impersonate you on board the cruise ship and charge things to your room without you knowing it. And this brings me to another point, which is always check your onboard account daily. If you ever notice anything that's not right, go immediately to guest services and get it fixed. They can handle this type of a problem, but sometimes people just don't check that. They're in vacation mode. And I have had cruisers tell me they wake up on debarkation day and find a huge bill of charges that they had nothing to do with. The way this scam works is that somebody on board who's actually on your cruise ship will figure out your name and your room number and go to guest services and say they lost their key. And if they can make themselves or somebody they're working with look similarly to you, it's not that hard because guest services is not really on alert for this. They're looking at your picture, but are they really scrutinizing it? And they might just hand another card to another guest impersonating you, and then that guest can go and charge up drinks, spa treatments, and whatever else they want, and it could be a day or more before that gets discovered. Some cruise lines have caught these scammers And of course, there have been some consequences, including them being banned from the cruise line. But you don't want to be the one who is a victim of this. If you're posting on social media, keep your cabin number out of it. But this doesn't just end on the cruise ship. Wait till you see what's happening at some of these ports of call. If you're looking to book a cruise, we maintain a list of the best cruise deals you can book right now. Just comment deals or click on the deals link in our description. One of the things I dread most about cruises is having to pay for Wi-Fi because it's exorbitantly expensive. I mean, at home, I might pay $35 a month for Wi-Fi, and on a cruise ship, I barely get a day and a half for that price. In fact, a one-week cruise is easily costing me well over $100. However, if you don't use the ship's Wi-Fi, you can run into a trap that could end up costing you big. A friend of mine was recently at a port of call in Cozumel and went to a Senior Frogs and was using the public Wi-Fi there without any protection and happened to be checking his credit card account. Well, he didn't think anything of it and nothing happened right away. But about 2 weeks later, he started getting a bunch of random charges on his credit card from somewhere in California. He lives in Florida. He's never been to California. So he immediately called up his credit card and reported it as fraud. Luckily, it was just his credit card, which they take seriously and they will remove those charges so you're not responsible for them. But if this had been his bank account, he could have had money drained out of there without even knowing it. Here's what the scammers are doing. They are setting up phishing software on these free public Wi-Fis to look at your information and see what you're doing. Don't ever assume that something you're doing over the internet at a free public Wi-Fi hotspot is secure. It may not be. Always use a VPN or something to try to protect yourself. But beyond that, just don't do anything financial or with your personal information or data when you're at one of these hotspots. If you're just checking social media, your emails, texting, that's no problem. But if you're giving out any personal information, checking financial accounts, or conducting any kind of business that you don't want out there in the public, don't do it at these free hotspots. You need to go somewhere where there's a secured network, or do it with a VPN, or buy a SIM card and do it over the cell data. That is much more secure than these free Wi-Fi hotspots. Has anything like this ever happened to you? Let me know in the comments below. I have been on a lot of cruise ships, and unfortunately, security is not created equal among all of these ships. Now, if you're on one of the newest, latest, greatest, big mega ships, they have security cameras everywhere, from the hallways to the public areas to the exterior of the ship. But unfortunately, a lot of these cruise ships still don't have that many cameras up and down the hallways, or even in some of the public areas, they're more limited, so there are blind spots everywhere. While crime is relatively low on cruise ships, there is a lot of petty theft that goes on, and you can't assume that you're in a crime-free bubble once you walk on board. You still need to take some protective measures. People are reporting things like their iPads getting stolen, being left out on their bed. Don't leave that stuff out. If you're out of the room and your cabin attendant comes to take out the trash or change the towels, they're going to prop that door open, and they might have to leave and go get some clean towels or get distracted somewhere. And while they're gone, if somebody walks by and sees something of value out in the open, they can slip in, grab it, and slip out, and the cameras might not be able to detect any of that. I personally always use the in-room safe to keep my valuables, and anything else that doesn't fit in there or that I don't want to grab attention, I put away, hide it. These kind of criminals aren't going to go rifling through your room. They're just going to be opportunists. If they see something, it might be a quick grab, they'll chance it. Otherwise, they're walking right past. Now, this next mistake is a silent financial killer. I'm going to tell you exactly how to avoid it. But first, take a moment and subscribe to our channel. Hit that like button. It helps us grow, and we'll continue to bring you cruising updates. I personally know somebody who got home after their cruise to a $600 phone bill when they normally pay about $40 a month. And this is because of the cellular at sea network. So if you're not familiar, as soon as your cruise ship gets into international waters, there is a cellular network at sea that activates. And if you are in roaming, your phone will try to connect to it. Now, if you have a prepaid plan or a pay-as-you-go plan, you're not really going to have to worry about this because you're not going to incur any charges from that. But if you have a regular plan with major companies like Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and you enable roaming, your phone is going to automatically be on that cellular network. And even if you're not making phone calls or sending texts, your phone does a lot of things in the background that have to do with data. And you could end up incurring major roaming charges without even knowing about it. I mean, $600 sounds like a lot, but I have actually heard worse. I've heard passengers getting home to $1,200 and $1,400 phone bills. Honestly, a lot of us don't even think about this, but it's a very simple fix. You just put your phone in airplane mode. That's the easiest way to do it. Or if you don't want to do that, turn off your cellular service or turn off roaming. That will solve the problem. Now, when you get to one of the ports of call, like let's say your cruise ship is going to Mexico, okay? That is a country where a lot of plans actually work without extra roaming charges. So you have a plan in the US, a lot of times it will include Canada and Mexico. So you'll want your phone working in Mexico because you can use it like normal without roaming charges. So the easiest thing to do is just turn the phone on airplane mode when you're at sea. And then when you get into port, turn it off again. See if it'll work there, as long as you know that your plan covers that country and you won't incur roaming charges. If you're going to a country that is not covered under your plan, keep it in airplane mode or keep that roaming turned off so that you don't go home to an unexpected bill. This video is not meant to scare you. Cruising is still one of the safest vacations you can take, and a few simple steps can keep you safe, enjoying your vacation, and getting back home without any of these issues. But scammers aren't the only ones trying to take advantage of people on their vacations. The cruise lines themselves are doing several things to try to get more money out of you. I'll tell you how to avoid that right here.